So you bought a new trailer, new RV. What do you need to do first?
Everything.
Ah.
Okay, we're going to start with the things that are absolutely mandatory for day one. Actually, I would say prior to day one, buy all these things so that when you get your trailer on day one, you're ready to go. Come on, we're going to show you exactly what to do as a newbie. It's day one. Let's get it out of the way. Start with the Stinky Slinky. Valterra Valve. This one is a twist on. It goes on the outside of the pipe. This will save you a lot of headaches from getting into a nasty mess. So all you have to do is put it onto the existing pipe and twist it in place. And in theory, you can leave it just like that. We're going to go a step further and show you what I want to do. I'm going to move it to the side, figure out my positioning, and then stick a little bit of JB weld behind it so that it stays in this location. So I know exactly where I want to be.
Now, what's the beauty of this?
Well, the tanks have valves on them and they keep everything closed in theory. We 100% know that when you travel, extra fluids will come out and they will wiggle around in your lines. And when you open your cap without a Valterra valve, you're going to get a surprise. So when you go to hook up your Stinky Slinky, you can end up with a mess. This will make sure you don't get a mess because this valve stays closed. You put the Stinky Slinky on here and then you can open the valve. So you're putting a layer of protection between your tanks and yourself because nobody wants a crappy day.
And here's what Chris is talking about. So our travel trailer has a gray tank, a black tank, and a gray tank, and they all come out of this magical hole. And we're gonna have a hose that connects to it. And this little thing has, you wanna turn it around so we can see the valve?
So this is the valve. Here, go ahead and look right here.
All right.
This valve stops everything coming out of the pipe. When you open this, you can see through it now. And then you close it there. And then the cap makes sure that nothing leaks beyond the valve.
Yeah, because it comes with the cap by itself.
Yeah, it comes from the factory like this.
But we've had this on our toy hauler and our fifth wheel. And so now we're putting a brand new one on our travel trailer.
And you're probably wondering why I'm touching everything. This trailer has not been used at all. There's nothing stinky about our Slinky. Okay, so the other thing I'm gonna do, which you don't have to do this is just me being me. I've got it positioned where I want it. I'm gonna use a little 2-part epoxy here. So I'm gonna put it in place. There we go. And then I want the valve turned just like that. And now I'm gonna let it dry. It is definitely not dry yet, but what I did is I put the glue around the back so that this piece doesn't spin. So right now from the factory, this will spin. You don't want to be driving and having this doing 360s. I like it like this, so I can just open the handle to the right, close it. So once it's dry, give it 5 minutes, we'll come back and check on it, but it's in place, it's how I want it. It's the handles away from the road, and the nice thing about this, if something happens to the valve, you have 4 nuts and bolts. Pull this off, rebuild it, good to go.
You can find all this on Santa Amazon's webpage. And then now what are you doing here?
It comes with a little keeper cord, but I'm putting the keeper cord on here, so if I forget and drop the cap, it stays attached. And again, I'm not going to push on it because I want it to dry.
This is one of the most important things for any RV. It doesn't matter what kind of RV you have, you need a good surge protector. We've used Watchdog, we've used, what was the other one called?
Southwire.
They're both really good. So we went with this one. When you plug it in and you turn it on, if the face is red, don't plug into your coach. That means he's angry and it's not getting a good power to it.
Yeah, this one's by Hughes Autoformer. We're not sponsored with any of these. We actually bought all this. The Southwire is a really good one. We use it in our Paradigm.
Yeah.
This one is the Hughes Autoformer. It's a Power Watchdog. We used this one previously on our Valor and now on the Delta. Only reason we bought this one versus the other one, this one was on sale. Where Martha's thumb, our pointer finger's at right now, there's an LCD screen. So if there's a code there, that means something's wrong. Don't use it.
Yeah.
But most important, have some type of EMS system that's a surge protector plus an EPO. So I'm not going to get into the science, but just have something good, and you get what you pay for. They're
Absolutely.
not cheap.
What do you got there, Mr. Peters?
Gas stop. So because this is a travel trailer and the design of it, we're going to be using the braided gas gear hoses with the 90 degree. And we're going to be using, let me make sure I get the label right. There we go, the RV gas stop, and we're going to put one on each cylinder. This is part of that whole, you know, what you have to do right when you move in. Take care of yourself and your family. Safety first, get gas stop.
And tell them about gas stop while you're installing.
Why I'm installing. So gas stop is an emergency propane shutoff that if your propane system loses any pressure or from a leak, a busted line, things of that nature, where it starts running out too fast, gas stop has a ball bearing on the inside that will drop down and completely shut off your valve. And it'll make sure that you don't end up with any problems and then ultimately end up with a gas leak. We did a video on this not that long ago.
Yeah, with Joe from Two Crazy Campers, Two Crazy Ketos on his previous travel trailer.
Yeah, their regulator, this thing right here, went out. Their regulator died, and it allowed all the propane in their system to completely evacuate. So they didn't have a gas stop at the time, and if they would have, the gas stop would have shut down the flow of the propane when that happened and made sure that they didn't lose all of it. The other thing is they were very fortunate that they didn't have a fire or any real repercussions other than having to buy more propane. So this protects you tremendously.
Yeah, and they were stationary too, so they weren't like in transit anywhere. And if I remember correctly, Rachel was trying to take a shower and water was just cold, so she had to go to the bathhouse.
Yeah, didn't know what was going on. Joe started digging into it, found out that the regulator was bad. It's one of those things that you might overlook and you think, well, what's the point of that? I don't travel with my gas line or my gas open or my propane open, but it's not always about that. Sometimes the regulator goes bad and stuff happens. I'll show you here. So this one, because it's threaded on one end and goes on the propane on the other end here, I'm going to unscrew it out of the regulator, which will give us longer hoses because these won't work. They'll be too tight of an angle for the gas stops. So it's going to be a little bit of a minute. Let me go grab the threading and I'll show you exactly what we do. And just so you all know, these are brand new. There's no propane. They've been purged from whoever their manufacturer is. So there's nothing that we needed to worry about as far as propane leaks at this point. So it's nice doing all this early on, ahead of all the problems.
Is there anything you'd recommend that they do before they change it if they've already been using their propane tanks?
Just make sure that everything's off, that's all. There's nothing that's going to hurt you. Just make sure the valves are closed before you start tearing apart your system. It doesn't hurt to, if you've used it before, you can turn off the propane on your system and then go in and run like your oven or your furnace just to purge your lines so you burn out any propane that might be in your system. None of it's going to hurt you, but you know, we don't want to spark anything and have any concerns.
And so what's that yellow stuff?
So this is pipe threading, or pipe tape, sorry. But this one is specifically made for gas, so there's different types. You're probably familiar with the white one, which is what people use for water. This one is made for gas, so this is important. The only thing I will say that I want to point out, when you go to install this, you want to make sure you run the threading in the direction of the threads. Now, I'm sure it doesn't make a difference, or actually I'm not sure if it does or doesn't, to tell you the truth. But for me, I always want, way to be that guy. So I put the pipe seal in and I'm running the valve in the same direction, and the threading, I wanted it to go the same direction as I'm twisting. So I ran it so that when it comes in, it doesn't unwind on itself. But the exact same process from what you did when you took it off. You just run this back in. You want it tight, but not overly tight. Not to the point where you're going to strip it. So you see now I have a braided line there. We'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Grab the gas gear. Now, when you have a fifth wheel, odds are you won't have to do this. Most of the time on the fifth wheels, you can just get the valve itself. This piece, screw it right in, and then go ahead and connect it right to your propane tanks. This case, for us, not so lucky. We've got to do a little more work this time.
Yeah, so fifth wheel and toy hauler. I'll link that video at the end because we've done one on our fifth wheel and we've done one on a friend's toy hauler.
Obviously, we believe in the product. We know it works really well, and it is absolutely, in our opinion, a must-have just from a safety standpoint. Kind of feels like a, you know, putting a seatbelt on when you get in the car. It's just something that you do.
And I'll link this down below and in the description, so you can get them off Amazon.
Yep, you can also go to Diversified Power Solutions, who is the U.S. distributor. Family-owned company, super nice people. The inventor of Gas Stop, a gentleman by the name of Martin, that we've met several times, is super passionate about just safety, and he's got a lot of products like this. And this is one of those things that, in our opinion, is a must-have.
Yeah, and if you go to that website, which I'll link below in the description, we do have a coupon code to save you some money on their products.
Always about saving money, right?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to be careful because our battery doesn't have a cover. It's coming today.
And that battery's temporary.
Yeah, but that's a later video.
A much later video.
Come on, you know us. You know darn well there's going to be solar, and it's going to be a monster. As much as you could do on a baby travel trailer, let's put it that way. All right, we got that back in place now. Make sure all this is seated. Can you hand me the gas stops?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look at that, teamwork.
Makes the dream work. Heard that somewhere. Hulk smash. Okay, so this portion is really easy. If you have a fifth wheel, this is literally all you do. Screw it on. Make sure it's tight, but not to the point where you're going to cause problems. And as you can see here, this is why we wanted to put this on here. So if I were to screw the old hose on here, go ahead and put that on, you see how tight that line's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a really snug fit. Will it work? Probably. I mean, it looks like there was enough room. For us, it's worth just going ahead and using the longer hoses. And I think I'm going to rotate this out a little bit. No right or wrong way to do this when it comes to it. You just don't want it pinched. I turned it out at an angle because it gives it a nice soft swoop, goes right in with no problems. So in this case, this is what I'll do for both sides. This is completely movable. That's movable. So you got a lot of flexibility in how you position it, but put it like this, tucks in nice, and then I'll be able to put the cover back on.
Now, once we get this filled with propane and we go to turn it on and we want to use it, you got to push down on this.
The valve?
Yeah, the valve at least 5 times just to prime it.
Another thing that you're going to want to do once you get this filled, since in our case, we've changed the hoses out, we're going to do a pressure drop test. So we'll fill it up, pump it up 5 times, make sure the system's pressurized. We'll take a picture of where the dial is, and then we'll wait 5 minutes, come back and check where the dial is. And if the dial has moved at all, you're losing propane out of your regulator in this case, or down the line, could be either or. But we know up to this point, there's been no gas leaks in our trailer. So if anything does leak, it'll be right here. So you have to do a pressure drop test when you're done, just to make sure that if you're messing with your propane lines, you're not leaking. Same thing, get it nice and tucked in around the line like that. Nice soft bends. And then so you could also do it up in the air, whatever you want.
Yeah, just as long as the cover fits. And that's the other reason why we wanted these braided lines. One, I think they're a nicer quality than what came with it.
The way I see it is it's like a washer machine in a house. You know, they always tell you use braided lines because they're going to be more durable. They're going to last longer. Same idea for the RV. Our opinion, it's just worth having. That's it. That's all there is to installing Gas Stop. Now our propane system, minus a leak test, is completely done. We'll put the cover back on. Voila, there you go. That's all there is. So one more project out of the way. This is a major safety item. And again, this is a mandatory item that you should do as soon as you get your brand new trailer. We don't even have propane yet. Off to the next one.
Hey, we got to get the propane tanks filled.
Yay, more money.
All right, there's a couple things we want to do in the bedroom before we fully move in. So we bought a DDry to go underneath the mattress. And what does that do for us, Chris?
It's making sure that we don't get any moisture. Here, let me stop touching that so you can hear me. And make sure that we don't get any moisture coming through the mattress and then going into the plywood. It's called DDry. It's a small business off of Amazon. It's not sponsored, but it works. It started with the boating industry because of the humidity and the moisture of being on a boat. You don't want mold on your bed platform. So, DDry. The most important thing you can do when you move into an RV, throw the darn mattress away.
Yes, absolutely. So there's the DDry. So we took it out of the roll and we folded it in half so we made sure that it fits properly. We did measure it for the queen. And Chris is turning the AC off because we're recording and of course it turns on. So now that we have it pre-measured, Chris is going to cut it in half with the razor blade and we're going to install it.
Yep, that's our cut point right here. Right there. So, and Martha, I need a second set of hands.
Okay.
I've got it pinched. I need a second set of hands. Everything is easier with two people. Okay, so I have it right here. This is where the pinch point was. If you cut it right here in the on the seam,
you're going to get a nice even cut.
Well, it'll be as straight as possible.
Yeah. Ooh, I felt that.
What are you talking about?
It's felt, dear.
I'm like...
Mom jokes.
Well, that's fine. Just make sure Dad knows about the mom jokes so I don't think I cut you. When you said you felt that, I thought I'd cut you. Oh my God. Well, I guess we're going to go one over.
Huh. Or you could have cut the other way.
Oh, no.
Don't finish. You want it even. Why didn't you just cut it the other way and we would have taped it?
Don't judge me, lady.
Not
it's already bad enough the interweb's going to judge me.
Offering advice.
Here. I'm sure they're wondering, what in God's green earth am I doing? Well, because I screwed up the cut, I'm going to go ahead and put the wider one up top. Because the majority of your...
We should flip that around. And...
temperature is going to be up top.
See, all good things have a way of working out.
What do you mean? I'm not perfect? Well, see?
So
I'm going to have to cut this down anyways, just due to the width of our...
Yeah, due to the width of the bottom of the bed.
So, it's okay. It'll work out fine.
All right, now that we got it worked out, how are we going to secure this DDry?
Tiny, tiny screws.
Ah, I see that.
I don't want to go too deep. I only want to go into the plywood. The only reason I do that is when we go to change sheets, we pull the mattress forward to change the sheets, and we don't want the DDry moving around. So 4 small screws, 2 in the corner, 2 up here, and we're done. I won't do down here because this part raises, so I don't want it to secure there, but I will come through and trim it. And I'm feeling in between where the little tracks are. There we go. I want to go right here. Measure twice, check once. I don't want to put anything into my...
So we found that this works great because when we first got our DDry, when we had our Alliance Valor toy hauler, we didn't do anything and it drove us crazy every time we went to go change the sheets.
Coming at you.
Every time we went to go change the sheets, it would move on us. And then we tried duct tape and that only lasted so long.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got our Paradigm, we got wise and went to these little screws. So we know they work. And it's real quick and easy setup too.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put the last one in. And only thing I'm doing is I'm just making sure I go into the plywood and not into the pretty edge. Do you have a bunch of screws? You should. If you don't, I would recommend getting a bunch of number 2 square screws, number 2 square bit. And whatever your particular manufacturer uses, Alliance uses these little square bit screws. So we use a lot of them for stuff like this. I want to try to keep it so that I don't have more than one drill bit for anything. Here we go. Now, let me show them what I'm talking about. This is the reason I didn't want to screw it down on the bottom, because this opens up I don't want to create any undue pressure. So now we got to come through. We got to trim all that. That's way too much.
All right, I'll put this down and we'll get to trimming. That project's completed, and you know what? I'm happy.
Couple minutes of my time, and it guarantees we're not going to get any mold on the bed platform. She's happy, I'm happy, right? Happy wife, happy life.
That's right.
Anytime you buy a new trailer, you're going to need new components, right? Not everything's going to be configured the same. A fifth wheel is much different than a travel trailer. As you all know, we do have the auto leveling system, and we decided that we wanted to go with the Anderson buckets. We really like the buckets. They have a magnetic top that goes onto the base, but we're also a gigantic fan of snap pads. Well, Anderson and snap pad now play well together. The base from snap pad on the Anderson bucket is a match made in heaven. We absolutely love this configuration. It makes it way easier to hook up the truck because the throw of my jack is a lot shorter, and I don't have to wait 3 days for this electric thing to go forever. But Anderson buckets all the way around. We're going to do a really thorough video on all the different leveling systems that we chose to do and how we configure our setup. That'll be coming really soon. But overall, the Anderson trailer jack block and the snap pad base have been fantastic. They make my life so much easier.
And mine too.
Yeah, and hers. Let us know what you think. Our first 5 things, are they the same as what yours would be?
Yeah, are they the same brand, or what do you use?
Right? We always want to know. We're always looking for the best products and the things that work the best. We don't want to pay that stupid tax.
No, we don't. So especially on a surge protector, on a brand new trailer or any trailer.
I don't like mold. DDry is a must. And no, it's not sponsored.
No one wants to get surprised with a little stinky slinky stuff.
Ew, the Valterra Valve really matters. Leveling blocks, right? These are basic things that everybody needs. Our first 5 things, like I said, let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want one of these cool hats, venturesomecouple.com. We have the female hats, so well, I could say male or female. So if you have a ponytail,
there you go.
We got a hat for you.
And if you like a leather patch, boom, nail it right there.
Chris is rocking the Enjoy Every Moment. We also have our Venturesome Couple logo one as well. There's a lot of shirts on there now.
Yes, there is. And we have our Red Friday, a lot of veteran shirts. Go over to venturesomecouple.com, hook us up and get some merch. We appreciate it. Anything military related goes 100% to Soldier's Heart.
It does. And we're going to link more of that down below in the description.
That's right.
Soldier's Heart.
Thank you for watching our video. Give us a thumbs up.
Yep. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed already. And other than that, no shame. It could be their first time watching our video. So we appreciate you taking the time. Welcome.
Most importantly,
enjoy every moment. It's behind door number 2.
Propane. He's propane and propane accessories. And if you guys don't know, that's from King of the Hill.